Hello, everyone. Welcome to the We Got You Mama show. So excited you are here with me today. You are in for a treat. I want to introduce you to my beautiful friend, Christina Powers. She is a super mama to her boys, Marshall, who's 12, and Gordon, who is 8, which is fun. I have a 12 and 9-year-old, so we kind of pair up right there. She loves this sacred calling to be a mother as well as being a heart-centered healer. So Dr. Christina has a doctorate in physical therapy, and she uses her Ayurvedic. Can you say that? I always say it wrong.
Ayurveda. You're doing great. You said it perfect. You have a great
Okay, I
speaking
thought
voice.
maybe I did, but she uses that energy medicine. So she has prana flow yoga and heroic coaching tools to help her clients, right? So she balances this practical and mystical. You guys, we get to experience the practical and the mystical today because we're going to do some like real life stuff. And she helps support women embody their health. And what we really talk a lot, almost on every show is about holistic health, right? And Christina's really big on supporting the whole self, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And she uses that with healing arts, right? So via healing arts, movement meditation, soulful coaching, she helps women really heal their whole self, which I love so much. And she can be found at www.drchristinapowers.com. All the things will be in our show notes, all the clickable links where you can follow her, check out her site, and where you can do we have an awesome meditation for you guys as well that is just for our We Got You Mama community, especially for us. So let's delve right in. I always ask my guests, did I miss anything? And I give them a chance to like, oh, and I also do this or whatever. I had another guest that was like, oh, I'm pregnant. And I was like, congratulations.
Well, no, I think, what's funny is I've listened to several podcasts and several people have been like, that was so amazing. I just feel so happy that you introduced me like that. So I want to second that I feel so grateful that it's been such a nice introduction and I feel very special. So thank you.
Yeah, I think we all need like a hype person that goes around with us and like just introduces us to people like, welcome.
Someone in our pocket. Yeah.
Get a little pocket person.
Pocket.
So let's talk a little bit about what you do and how you do it. So you talk a lot about the practical and mystical ways to embody self-love, compassion, inner wisdom. So let's like start on that note.
That little deep dive.
Yeah.
So I wanted to the beginning of that was, my process as a mom and we become this mom, whether it's a shock or it's joy or it's all the things or there's a lot of confusion, there's so many, we're swimming in a sea of emotions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, for me coming into this world, having a yoga background, incorporating a coaching background, but it's in this space of using kind of this inner wisdom that was lost. And it's lost not to any fault of our own and holding true self-compassion, but we've got doctors and we've got family and we've got partners and we have these beings, whatever ages these beings are, and they've been given to us and we're diving into how to support them. And kind of along the way, we go like, hey, what's happening with me? What are my hopes and dreams? What am I still on this planet to do? Whether that's, raising my children or in some beautiful career or, supporting some community project. I mean, there's so many things. And as women, like you've said to me before, we want to help women because we're the doers and the makers. Without us, the life on this planet, I mean, it's not going to be right. So it's in that support. And when you said that, it's been really grounding to hear because I 100% agree. And this kind of losing this intuition and forgetting that, maybe we've got the answers.
Yeah.
Because we like I said, we have this great community, and even within that community, we've sought answers, and it's been helpful. And in the end, it's always nice to check in and be like, is this true for me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What's true for me in this season of my life? Maybe when I was 20, things were different, right? When I was 30, things are different. When I was 40, things are different, right? And we have these different needs. and all those levels, like the physical, the mental, emotional, the spiritual. And that's, I think the role into the multi-layers is we take care of ourselves in all these different ways, right? And sometimes we also don't have this balance, right? So maybe we've decided like we really are ready to get back into shape after we've had our children, or, we've taken a time, and so we go crazy at the gym, or we go crazy into Pilates mode. And then we kind of forget that, there's also like this mental, emotional side of ourselves that's, it's kind of interesting depending on the time that we're experiencing the month or whatever, or just with all the humans, right? And so, and our furry beings and everything, but it's like, and then that the groundedness as well as that spirit self. And I don't mean to get too woo in the spirit self, and that's not bad or good. It's just to make it practical. That spirit self is just this voice that's inside, this voice that always knows exactly what we need. Yeah. And we have this voice, and it's important to listen to it. And when we've let it, when we've let it have its messages and we're missing them, like we're missing these intuitive hits, it gets a little quieter and a little quieter and a little quieter. And then it's almost like, I don't really, it starts to sound like, I don't really know what I want, right? Because we haven't given ourselves that inner trust to say, I'm saying this to myself. I'm going to reflect on it, do something about it, whatever that aligned action is. Or maybe it's just to hear it, right? Validate that. Oh, that's something I want to explore. That's something, I need to sleep more. I need to eat this thing. I need to, whatever the message is, it's as we start to then hear those messages, whether it's small or loud, and listen to them, right? And so it's this building block of creating self-trust by listening to the message, then taking some aligned action, and then that creates this anti-fragile trust in ourselves and confidence that we can take care of ourselves. We can do what we say we will do. And then that bolsters us to be, and it's like I was saying about the heart, we didn't get into that, but the heart being like our love is going to radiate out, right? We've taken care of ourselves. And so now we're kind of ready to take it all on, right?
Yeah, and when we start trusting that intuition for ourselves, it bleeds so much into those around us too, right? Like, and it's like anything, the more you practice it, the more you practice receiving it, listening to it, acting upon it, the easier it is to receive it, to trust it, to act upon it, right? And it almost in little decisions too. And I've realized, like, even my kids are like, Mom, are you psychic? How did you know I would get my period on my 6th grade field trip? Like, I was like, I don't know. I just know that that's a possibility. And I thought, heck, if my kid in the middle of the Grand Canyon got her freaking period, like, that's something she'll never forget, right? All her classmates around, and I did have the intuition to be like, hey, let's have this little chat. Just wear these every day, just in case your period starts. And it did 2 days into the trip. And I'm like, I am psychic, right? And what's cool, I'm like, no, because moms know, right? And they're discovering their kind of knowing, right? And how to trust themselves and being that mom they can trust it. But you start with trusting yourself, right? And trusting those things that come to you and acting upon it. And do you ever like not act upon it and then you see something come to fruition and you're like, I knew it. It was telling me and I didn't listen. I think it always directs us correctly, right? Like it's right.
Yeah, and that's a great story because it reminds me of just when you listen, when you are able to cut out all the distraction, and you've decided this trip for my daughter, it's a big deal. And it's not like you said, like, I'm going to sit in meditation and light myself on fire and I'm going to just listen in because of my daughter, no, you were just clear, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, this is a thing. This is a very possible that she's going to run into this. And how can I best support my child, right? Yeah. And that came from this very clear, grounded place. Yeah. And could you have not said anything? But but you knew, like you said, it's like this mom intuition, right? This mom, this knowingness. And I believe, that always, it's there for a reason. And not to keep saying it's there for a reason, we got to listen to it. I mean, we have to be careful of what we call like this false goddess or this false intuition, where it's more, edgy, a little anxiety driven, those kind of messages, because they are very much able to take the steering wheel over, right? And that's not what you're experiencing. However, that's the balance, right?
Yeah.
That we have two beautiful voices that are talking to us. So, and in our brain, we have these things that are called ANTs, automatic negative thoughts. And so we're all combating against the negative thoughts that are coming. And especially, I actually wanted to just really link it to when you listen to yourself, you're demonstrating to your daughter, you're being a great role model of like, I had this intuitive hit about like, this is a possibility. Let's be prepared. Let's not just throw it up to chance.
Hope it all goes great.
This is not something we throw to chance. You know what I mean? We can pick ice cream flavors on chance, but we're not going to do going on a field trip when this is a possibility. So I think that the inner listening combined with the clarity of being grounded is really important. And it's getting harder, or it is hard sometimes when we have a lot of, input, digital input, social media stuff, all the things that we are surrounded by now. And it's not bad. It's just there's like they say we have more input now than our, ancestors did millions of years ago, which is obvious, right? Because of all of our digital stimulus. And it's not bad. It can sometimes cloud out the good messages with other things. So I think that's why it's this, I mentioned having some solitude to create those moments where you're a little more clear for yourself. And the thing I've also seen is that this moments of solitude, it's almost like you have to create them versus thinking they're going to happen. And so what I mean by creating solitude, it's taking those moments of, maybe you're in the car and you could be listening to another podcast. You could be listening to some favorite song. But what does it look like to sit in silence, right? It's creating these small moments of solitude that you can reclaim what I call sacred space and time for you to process, what's happening in your life, all the good and the challenges. And that is something that we all work on every day. Our lives are a lot different. And they can be depending on how many kids and our partner and our furry animals and all of the just different circumstances that our lives have. And
what is happening? Did you go away?
I was here. I was just talking to I don't know what happened to you, but I just kept going because I figured we were still recording.
I was like, she's still talking. That's amazing. I don't know what happened either. We went black and then it cut me out and it said, oops, something went wrong with StreamYard. And I was like, awesome.
I was just talking about solitude. I just went into a freelance moment. I went into a free range chicken moment. I can repeat it. I don't know how you want to edit it, but
let's go back to I think where it went black. This is so fun. Like
we are having a day. The universe is having
powers that be are like, you cannot let women know how to access their intuition.
Whatever.
We will let them know, dang it.
It will happen. It will totally happen.
So it jumped right back into the recording. And so I'll cut here. And you were mentioning like you can't just let your kid go on a field trip without these things happening. It can be really hard. And then.
So the next thing I
Go ahead.
wanted to say is that as that came from such a grounded place, that message,
Yeah.
it, the the space where we can get that messaging is in finding solitude. And I like to call it reclaiming like sacred space in your day. And it, I mean, I guess my question, I would actually just have a question to you. That was a great example. How do you think you access your intuition, on a daily, weekly, whatever basis? Like how is best for you that you like to access those messages? And
Yeah, I think for me, it comes from when I can quiet my mind, right? So when I can exit the chaos.
yeah.
My ADHD brain is beautiful and fabulous and does wonderful things for me. And oftentimes, it's very much my superpower. But I also have to be organized in my day and in my calendar and in my systems to free up that space in my brain, right? And
Hmm.
in my nervous system, right? So I can feel like regulated enough to like receive more, right? And
Right.
receive what's there for me. When I get too, caught up in the chaos is when I'm a little bit detached, right? From myself. So I find that when I am intentionally organized and consistently so, that I am very, very much more open to receiving the things that I need.
That makes sense. Yeah, and that's it's you can't it's not tangible, right? You can't see that
Not
you're creating space in your mind
right.
from your systems or your organization, but that's what it's doing. It's
Mm,
reclaiming the sacred space so that
yeah.
you can have moments of clarity. And I like to say that however you can reclaim that space is so individual. And we
Right.
call it, idiosyncratic when we're speaking kind of in this, coaching navigation words, but it's this everybody has their own way of creating sacred space for themselves.
Mm,
Everyone does a certain, what I like to say is like, you may or you may not, or you may do it, but not know. But we all have these ritual protocols that kind of keep us in this space, and so it's always fun to start to think of if you don't have a set of rituals or protocols to create this solitude, this sacred space, is start asking yourself these small questions, like you were saying before, like the small messages, the
yeah.
small things. You gain confidence from listening to yourself in the small things. Like you could ask yourself when you're sitting there just having a couple breaths, or drinking your tea or your coffee, or just in the car with no music or anything, like, what do I want? How
Mm,
can I support myself? What's the most balancing way? All just these little things, how if I wanted to start doing, something in the morning, what does that look like? Just whatever these little things are. And it doesn't have to mean that some huge plan comes from that answer.
right.
But it's the honoring of whatever comes up.
Yeah.
It's the honoring of the space that you've created for yourself that just, like, I think it's a total mom joke, and I'm sure you've said it or heard it, but it's like, what are you going to go do? Just like do something and then just go stare at the wall. Like, yeah, maybe, because
Sure.
I just need to just down regulate my
Yeah.
nervous system so that I can just be, right? I don't want to do anything, look at anything, talk to anybody. I need to just be, right?
Mhm.
And so protecting that space to just be is so important.
It is so important because we're attached to so many other beings, most right, especially if you're little, right? And so
Yeah.
if they're little, you're always doing something. And so having
Yeah.
even we talk about a lot, even in my book, that village of support to be able to take time for yourself. And we talk about not needing a ton of time. I don't need to take a 5 day, trip. I just need some time. And then when you practice that often, right?
Hmm.
Then your
Hmm.
village of support, your partner, whatever, knows that like this is a practice that we've integrated into our lives and she
Right.
needs her space and you hold that space sacred. And I think when you say sacred, it layers on this importance, like, oh, this is mommy's sacred space. This is her time. Like we don't mess with that.
No.
Right.
And that's, you're exactly right. And the when we've bought the plan, then we can feel that others in the circle are buying the plan, right? Like this is, like in my example, like my number one thing and that's like a fun thing to ask yourself, like, what's your number one thing? What's your number one thing that if you did this thing, your day would always be bananas great? Like, I mean, things happen, all the things, but like, what do you do for yourself that makes your day bananas great? And for me, it's always moving. And so I move in the morning, and my kids and my husband, they know we're not getting in the way of the mommy's going on our exercise train. Like she's doing something, she's getting out of this house, and nobody's going to get in the way of that train.
Right.
So, it's the finding those moments. And I think what's hard is we think we don't have time, and this segues into like, we call this, I love calling this in my heroic coaching community. This is what we've learned. It's called the AM bookend, or I like to call it AM protocols, AM rituals, but it's taking 1, 2, 3, 5, infinite, whatever time you have in the morning before you're needed, right?
Yeah.
So whatever those moments are, and in that AM bookend, you get to put in like, what fills my cup, right? Is it reading? Is it my coffee? Is it taking a walk? Is it, my Peloton? Is it whatever, you know what I mean? Like, is it journaling? Like what goes in there, that I can protect. And we start those things really small. So if we're maybe not doing those things, it's like a habit, something we make it small, we make it easy. And then when we do it, we celebrate it, and that's one of those things, right? So it's just, inching up, like, how can I support myself? What is this, like this one simple thing that is really filling up my cup every day? And how can I create that sacred ritual around whatever it is, or the 3 or 5 things. And for moms, because we're busy and every day I feel like is a different day, right? We don't know who was sick the night before, who's got some project, the carpool's weird, there's so many things.
Carpool's weird.
The carpool's weird.
Why is it taking twice as long today? Get it together.
You're like, can't we all just do the magic and get there? But it's like you might have to create like several different rituals. Like you got a weekend ritual, right? When you maybe have some extra village support and you can do lots of minutes of lots of things, right? Or on the school day, it's like it's very succinct. You know what I mean? I take a couple breaths, I write gratitude journal, and then I'm out the door for whatever I'm going to do for 30 minutes. Like this is like kind of my like 1, 2, 3, and they're small on the week, right? Because people are going places and doing things, right? So, and that's the celebration, is what can you do? What can you do that honors what you need in a time frame that you have that's within the constraints of your reality, right? We don't get to imagine that we have 3 hours a day to exercise if we in fact don't. We don't get to imagine we're going to take an hour to meditate when we probably don't, right? So it's just a very interesting, Carly, there you are. There you are. There you are. So with that, I wanted to see if I could just walk you through just a small, connected meditation. Would that work for you? Do you,
please.
And if you have something nearby that you want to write anything down, or I always just say you can write it upon your heart, also fine. So if you're joining us, whether you're hearing this and you can close your eyes, I invite you to close your eyes. And then you're going to put your hands over your heart. So you're going to have the backs of your thumbs touching, and they're going to go right over your heart. And in Prana Flow Yoga, we call this Sva Bhava Mudra. And Sva means self, and Bhava just means that feeling mind. So the feeling mind of the self, right? And just feel the beating of your heart. And then we're tapping into the sacredness of the breath, as we can envision the breath coming down from the sky. And as you inhale, it's coming through the crown of your head, through the center part of your body, and all the way to where you're sitting or your feet are on the floor and into the earth. And then whenever you exhale, you can exhale through your nose. Just think the breath is coming from the earth to the sky. And you feel just the effects of gravity on you, just giving you a little bit more weight and a little more release to wherever you're sitting. Now we start with this accessing of the breath, inhaling through the nose deep into your belly. And as you exhale, we want to try to exhale slower than our inhale. And this is tapping into our nervous system, down regulation. That's why the fastest way to be more centered is by working on your breath and attuning to your breath. And then anytime you feel like you have any tension in your jaw, neck, or shoulders, that's when you can really give that kind of that audible exhale through your mouth. So we're still feeling that breath. And then as we let ourselves breathe just naturally, no trying to change it, we feel the heartbeat under our hands. We can envision underneath our hands just this fire. So think about a fire. We call it our heart fire. And in this heart fire, can you ask yourself, how is your fire doing? Or can you see it? So, is your fire steady? Is your fire small? Is it wavering? Is it raging out of control? So just checking in with that visualization without judging or worrying. Just how does my fire feel and look inside me? And then we look with the back of our eyes, being closed, but just scanning our awareness, scanning that physical body, that mental, emotional body, and that connection to self. And when we're scanning, we're asking, what needs support? What needs balancing? What do I need to know right now? So in those, call those in yoga, they're koshas. It's just this layers of your embodiment, but just scanning again, that physical, mental, emotional, spirit sides of yourself, layers of yourself. What needs support? What needs balancing? What do I need to know right now? And then it's not necessary to open your eyes, but just feel if you can, because it's not about what it looks like, it's how it feels. Take your hands off of your heart and bring them more into that, kind of that prayer pose with your palms together. And then if you envision in between your hands, just this energetic field of your heart. Your hands might naturally part in front of your heart. And then as you inhale here with your hands at your heart, see how they feel. And there's so many ways to do this, so there's no right and wrong. And then as you exhale, you're going to turn your palms to face away from you and move your hands just to the side. That's your exhale. And then when you get to the end of your exhale, you turn your palms back towards your body and you inhale back to that energetic field of your heart. We're going to go through that 2 more rounds. You can play with what you like better, the inhale or the exhale, but this mudra vinyasa, we call this how we move our hands. So it's inhaling away and exhaling towards your heart, or just whatever feels comfortable to you, right? It's not about what it looks like, it's about how it feels. So take 1 more round, cycling your hands, feeling that energetic expansiveness of your heart. And as you exhale or inhale, you're bringing your hands back in front of your heart. And then bringing them back into Svabhava Mudra, which is the backs of the thumbs touching over your heart. And you're going to bow your chin to your chest. You're going to offer yourself love, gratitude, compassion. And then when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open. How'd it go?
So good.
Yeah.
I'm so peaceful now.
Oh, good.
I'm even talking slower.
I love it. I love it. Makes you, just brings it back to center, right? And I don't know how long that was, but something simple like that is really fun to do for yourself whenever you can. You can do that in 1 to 3 breaths, right? You know, when you're having a challenging moment with somebody, when you just need to regroup, you know?
Anywhere
So,
in the carpool line at traffic, you know what I mean? Like you can,
yeah,
it needs to be this 20-minute meditation or this 45-minute workout or whatever to help kind of get you back to here. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it can be as simple as like just reconnecting and breathing.
yeah. And I think that you mentioned something very beautiful, which I love telling or, you know, educating my mamas about. And it's, you know, we have this false realization that it has to be so big and
Yeah.
it has to look like this.
Yeah.
And the truth is when you offer yourself 1, 2, 3 breaths, whatever it is, that intentional moment is, that's what it is.
Mhm.
That's the, you know, if we should say the point of it all, but
Sure.
that's the groundedness, right? That's, and even like I was saying about the idiosyncratic cycles of our day, which can be very up and down with all the
Mhm.
beings in our lives, is
Yeah.
how many times a day do I need to just do like that? You know, 1 hand to my heart, 1 hand to my belly, take a breath for the 5 or 6 times that maybe I think I'm a little off center,
Yeah.
you know, and not without judgment, but with just self love. We all get, you know, derailed on our beautiful trains. And
Mhm.
so just that heart-centered way of being is awesome. And then when we have those intuitive messages,
Yeah.
the next step is, okay, so if my body said I really need rest when I was in there, right? It's like you've got to get some sleep. You've got to get some sleep.
Right.
Then my journal prompt or my thought later is, how am I going to make that happen, right? So that's that next level of honoring the beautiful intuitive spark that you've received is okay, what do I need to do about that? Or what's it causing me to have a little bit more reflection about?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then even the flame exercise, or just paying attention to that. And then and then contemplating that afterwards, like, what does that mean? And what am I receiving after, going through that visual exercise?
Yeah.
It's really cool to bring other like awareness when, I'm a very visual person. And so
Yeah.
what does that mean? And again, like, without judgment. I love how you have to tap in without judgment, because we're so judgmental. Right?
You're like, oh, that my fire is too big, that must be bad.
Yes.
Or if my fire is really dim, that must be bad.
Right.
No, it is
bring
just
awareness
you.
to what
Right?
does that mean for you right now? And then you can bring whatever meaning comes, great.
Absolutely.
Just
Absolutely.
recognize it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is this. And then you also get to ask for help, whether you are on board with angels, whether you believe in your higher power of all the things, you also get to say and request help,
100%.
like, please send me help. Please,
Yeah.
please, please,
Yeah.
because we do need help. So I think that that's the grace too in it all, is that we're not meant to go alone, like you said, like,
Nope.
and coming back to, your mission of creating this beautiful community, is we're not meant to soldier on alone. We have resources, right? And starting with ourselves, and then figuring out what the next best step is, right?
Yep. The next best step. That's all we can do often some days, right? Is breathe, and what's the next best step? And then without judgment, moving into that next best step, and not judging that next best step.
Right.
Trusting our intuition, trusting ourselves, trusting that, as we move one foot in the front of the other, that, we know where we're going, even if sometimes it may not feel like that. We do. We know. And trusting that inner knowing. Oh my gosh, Christina, thank you so much. I feel like
You're welcome.
like lay down now.
Oh yeah, next time we should do like a yoga nidra or shavasana thing. That would be fun.
Yes, and then I will not come back on screen, because
you'll say, or I'm going to say, we're going to put Carly to bed,
and then she'll end the show. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Christina. Dr. Christina Powers, everyone. Thank you
so much, everybody. Be well. Appreciate it. Thanks so much, Carly. I will see you.
Yes. And you guys, if this resonates with you, if you would like to like and subscribe, if you'd like to send this on to another mama, a friend, a woman who could use this meditation, use this information in their lives, please send it on, like and subscribe, send it on. Hey, you can press play and listen to Christina every morning, and that can be your 5-minute reset, right? Or before you launch into your day. I don't know about you. I would like to launch into my day with Christina every morning. You're able to feel that, from the other end of the internet streets, like I did. I find that I will start my day with Christina, and I think my days will go better because of it. So thank you again for joining us. And Christina's got you, mama. We got you, mama. And until next time.